been hanging out like this for years. Every now and then we dance away our fears. Note to the nation, we could use a celebration. Somebody said we need to be of good cheer. Too much anxiety in this society. Time to recover and defy a little gravity. Put away your sorrow, we'll deal with that tomorrow. Right now it's all about just you and me. You're the one who always gets me in this groove. This groove. You're the one who turns me on each time you move. You move, yeah. All across the nation, we could use a celebration. Haters love to see us sad, and that's the truth. Too much anxiety in this society. Time to recover and defy a little gravity. Put away your sorrow, we'll deal with that tomorrow. Right now it's all about this melody. Today is not my birthday, but I feel good inside. I don't need a reason to celebrate tonight. Forget your worries and your cares. Let's make right now the only moment. I'll be the one standing there when music's fire. When music's fire takes us higher. Too much anxiety in this society. Time to recover and defy a little gravity. Put away your sorrow, we'll deal with that tomorrow. Right now it's all about just you and me. Too much anxiety in this society. Time to recover and defy a little gravity. Put away your sorrow, we'll deal with that tomorrow. Right now it's all about this melody. Today is not my birthday, but I feel good inside. I don't need a reason to celebrate tonight.
Hi, I'm DJ DSW. Welcome to Cameron Wade's Lemonade. Here in the studio tonight is a very special guest, L.A. Jackson, the former marketing manager for Sony Records and currently the author of the Musicology series.
We've known L.A. for many years, and he also assists us for this show with post-editing. When we started preparing this episode, there was such an enormous amount of information that he'd gathered for his Musicology book series. We just didn't know where to begin. L.A., what made you amass so much information for Musicology 1, 2, and 3?
Well, I worked at Sony Music for 10 years, and even before that, I had an incredible love of music. Played keyboards, I did sound, I programmed synthesizers, and just listened to records in general. So I really had a big love for music. So I wanted to document the history of how music evolved with mankind through history. And I thought the best way I could do that was by writing the Musicology book series. And so that's what I did, and I included bits and pieces of my experiences as a professional in the industry, but basically just wanted to really document how music evolved and traveled with mankind through history as it became a multi-billion-dollar industry.
LA, I understand you have a very special presentation for us tonight.
With Women's History Month coming up soon, I thought it would be a good idea to pull up some information on some women, and I went through extraordinary pains to include the contributions of women in the music industry. So I put together a little bit of information about some women that I spoke about in my book and profiled, and made a presentation just for you guys.
Fantastic, my brother, because we are in the season of Black History Month as well as Women's History Month. So we want everybody to just sit back, relax, and let L.A. Jackson take us on a musical journey entitled Women in Music History, Known and Unknown.
With Women's History Month coming up soon, I pulled up some information from my Musicology 2101 book about women in music history, known and unknown. The first one I'm going to talk about is Africa's Miriam Makeba, who's a well-known South African singer and freedom fighter. Also known as Mama Africa, this Grammy Award winner was at one time or another married to notables like Sonny Pillay, Hugh Masekela, and civil rights activist Stokely Carmichael. Yet she was a fabulous singer long before the first nuptial ever came to be. Born in Johannesburg in 1932, this singing, songwriting actress donated her talents and activism to the world for over 50 years and was among the first wave of African musicians to wash up on the American shores. She recorded and toured with acts like Harry Belafonte, Paul Simon, and even former husband Hugh Masekela. After campaigning against apartheid during the 60s, the South African government banned her and she could no longer return to her place of birth, ever. Miriam took refuge in other lands and was granted honorary citizenship in 10 countries. Things eventually changed when black South Africans successfully wrestled their rights to citizenship from a longtime racist regime, and her rights to return home were eventually restored. Recorded in 1957 and making it to the American mainstream 10 years later, the song Pata Pata expanded popularity of African music. This not only happened in America, but on a global level. Miriam had a bumpy time following her birth. When she was 18 days old, her mother, who worked as a domestic worker for almost nothing, was imprisoned for 6 months. The backstory is that she was brewing beer illegally to help make ends meet, and Miriam ended up going to prison with her. Along the way, Makeba was featured in a South African jazz group called the Manhattan Brothers, and she even had an all-female group called the Skylarks. Although she passed away in 2008, Miriam Makeba has left us with dozens of recordings, which include singles, albums, compilations, plays, movies, and more content you can discover at miriammakeba.co.za. Our next artist is Cher, and she's been around for a good while. Cher was born to a Cherokee English-French mother and an Armenian father as Sherilyn Sarkisian, and transformed into a talented singer-songwriter, live performer, record producer, show host, actress, and director. Meeting her mate Sonny during the early 60s, they became inseparable. Sonny and Cher did lots of session work in Hollywood studios. 1965 saw a massive response to Sonny and Cher's hit, I Got You, Babe. Between 65 and 72, Sonny and Cher scored hits with The Beat Goes On and Bang Bang, My Baby Shot Me Down, which was also recorded by Nancy Sinatra. Her version was used in the 2003 Quentin Tarantino film, Kill Bill. Sonny and Cher ended up with 11 Billboard Top 40 hits, with 6 of them hitting the top 10. Oncoming winds of change triggered a transition from the folksy-sounding soft rock to playing a whole lot of rock and roll. In the mid-70s, Cher reinvented herself from a solo act into a Hollywood diva. Sonny didn't do too bad himself. He was elected to Congress as California's Republican U.S. representative. They had been so popular that manufacturers like Mego produced lines of Sonny and Cher toys. Cher appeared on her own televised program, and The Ed Sullivan Show. After that, she got FaceTime on nearly every variety show, from American Bandstand and Top of the Pops to Mike Douglas, Johnny Carson, and David Letterman. Cher became her own brand. In 1973, Cher made 0 attempts to hide her Indian nativity and issued a statement through the song Half-Breed. Signing on with Casablanca Records in 1979 at the height of the disco craze, Cher continued her trek with more hits. By the late 80s, she signed with Geffen Records. Her Heart of Stone album yielded the hit If I Could Turn Back Time, which sold over 4 million copies. Cher even unveiled a new fragrance called Uninhibited. The 90s yielded more success in music, TV, movies, and much more, including a 1999 Super Bowl performance. That same year, the song Believe became her flagship song. It was that year's best-selling single. Cher's career spanned 30 years between her biggest hits, with an accompanying album that sold over 50 million copies. She became the only female to hit Billboard's Hot 100 and Top 10. Her acting resume reeled in starring roles in films like Silkwood, The Mask, The Witches of Eastwick, and Moonstruck. Cher eventually called it quits in 2005 and retired as one of the most successful female acts ever. Her 40-year track record had fans attending sold-out, stadium-sized tours and purchasing tons of merchandise, including over 100 million units of music. She won Academy, Emmy, Golden Globe, Grammy, and People's Choice Awards, and made a Las Vegas comeback in 2008 with a new show at Caesars Palace. It netted her $180 million. That kind of cash helped keep the mortgage paid on property in places like the US, London, and who knows where else. Cher is also a key spokesperson for several nonprofit organizations. How's that for a shy little Armenian, American, Cherokee, English, French girl from El Centro, California? Visit Cher.com for more info. Our final woman of interest is Ma Rainey, and she is a celebrated blues artist that made her trek to stardom during the 20s. And as a revealing new movie about her life and career reveals, Ma Rainey, codenamed Mother of the Blues, was endemic in the South, where she toured for years portraying herself as a passionate but ill-treated lover. Recording over 100 songs between 1923 and 1928, Rainey was backed up by notables such as Louis Armstrong, Coleman Hawkins, and Fletcher Henderson. This shows how well respected she was by top musicians. The second stage of blues was exemplified during the 20s through artists like Ma Rainey, Ida Cox, Bessie Smith, and Mahalia Jackson, all of which are discussed in the Musicology book series. These women became overnight sensations during the classic blues era, which peaked between 1923 and 1925, but its life cycle endured throughout the 20s. During that time period, record labels popped up everywhere. This is just a far cry from the dozens of contributions made by even more women discussed in my Musicology book series. Be sure to pick up your autographed copy at lajackson.com, and you can still find it at other places online too.
I've mentioned Cameron Wade and his music many times throughout my book as well.
That was awesome, L.A. Can you please let us know where the Musicology series can be purchased?
Well, you could find it online at many of the usual places, in particularly at Amazon, and of course on my website at lajackson.com.
L.A., we want to thank you for sharing all of this knowledge with us.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate the fact that you took time out of your busy schedule to stop by with us.
You too. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. That was awesome.
Once again, my favorite artist, Cameron Wade.
From above in our hearts, that we can be from now on. No more negativity. Say no to the days of fighting. Say no to the games and lying. Say no to tearing each other down. Say no to the way we used to build walls around each other. No time for all of that mess, not now. 'Cause in my eyes, you're an angel from above. In our hearts, let's make miles and miles of love from now on. Let's be all that we can be from now on. No more negativity. Say yes to the morning kisses. Yes to granting wishes. Say yes to the bliss we're missing. Say yes to heaven on earth. When we get that feeling, let it flow, let's not conceal it. 'Cause it has a deeper meaning. Say yes to heaven on earth. Something's missing, can't put your finger on it, but you know you need it, just don't know how to get it. But you can have it right here on this planet with just a one-word answer. Call yes. Say yes to the morning kisses. Yes to granting wishes. Say yes to the bliss we're missing. Say yes to heaven on earth. When we get that feeling, let it flow, let's not conceal it. 'Cause it has a deeper meaning. Say yes, yes. Say yes to the morning kisses. Yes to granting wishes. Say yes to the bliss we're missing. Say yes to heaven on earth. When we get that feeling, let it flow, let's not conceal it. 'Cause it has a deeper meaning. Say yes to heaven on earth. Something's missing. Say yes to heaven on earth. But you know you need it. Say yes to heaven on earth. But you can have it. Say yes to heaven on earth. With just a one word and say yes. Say yes. Say yes to the morning kisses. Yes to granting wishes. Say yes to the bliss we're missing. Say yes to heaven on earth. When we get that feeling, let it flow, let's not conceal it. 'Cause it